Hello, everyone. Me. Whoa! It's Tuesday. It's time for another show and more stuff to list and sell. I can't even. Sorry. That's what I feel like some days, and I'm sure you guys do too. So that's what we actually decided to talk about today was how we can try and go from like no-tivation. I'm so clever with my puns. To motivation. How do we snap out of it? How do we get ourselves thinking in different ways? What can we do to help ourselves figure out how to do more, list more, stay positive, things like that? And one of the better people that we know that we can chat about stuff like that is Carl, the lazy reseller, because Carl is a lazy reseller.
Especially last week. I'm looking forward to this show because I also need to figure out how to get motivated all the time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I know that I've struggled with. I've struggled with it a lot, probably especially over the past, I think especially as much over the past 3 to 4 to 5 months with a lot of the sales depression that's been sort of going on. And outside world, trying to sort of push the outside world and go, okay, no, you're trying to resell, you're trying to do this sort of stuff. So, and when you don't see good sales in a week, or you see a weekly deposit that's like $100, and you like Christmas, you were doing like 2,000. It's sort of, you get into this, you start thinking, and you start getting into your own head, and it's one of those things that I think a lot of people need to do. And we're always talking about, here's a thing you can do about this. Here's something to do. Here's your time. It's July. It's time to do this. But even some of those things that we've recommended, like it's July, it's time to relook at everything, can be either something boring that you don't want to do, or something distracting or you start looking at your inventory. And then you go, why did I buy this? Why did I buy this? I can't buy anything anybody wants. Nobody likes my stuff. Everything I buy is crap. Like something like that. Like in your head. Yeah. I do it out loud, and Rick just says,
well,
Rick just really takes Doug for a walk and goes away.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard when there's sales are down a lot. And it's not just us. Even Shopify said today sales aren't as good as they thought, and they laid off a whole 10% of their staff or something.
Yeah.
So when you don't have sales, it is definitely demotivating. And I was saying that, my month, I get paid every week, and this was the lowest payment I've had in years. And it's hard to make yourself go out and, well, especially for listing, when the sales just aren't coming in. And I think we're in a bump, but it's hard to no one can predict. And, especially when you want to see your sales go up like that, and they're cratering. Yeah. It's hard to get yourself to start putting more things up when, ironically, we should be putting more stuff up to make up for it.
Well, yeah, it's like we should be getting through our profit piles. We should be looking at what we've got and saying, why is this still sitting around after a year and things like that. And it's trying to figure out. So what we're hoping to do today, Carl and I, and Good Dog may join us at some point, is just chat a little bit more about some of the things that we deal with when we're looking at some of the struggles that we have, and also some of the things that we might think about as ways to sort of flip ourselves out of it. So I want to say hi to everyone who's joined us so far. We got, hey, Janet, thanks for popping in, and Peter's here, and Heather, who said she was disappointed because I was actually looking at taking the month off of Tuesday night shows, because this is also a secondary pressure that I put on myself to go, I got to do a show every Tuesday, and I have to, I literally messaged Carl like hours beforehand going, what are you doing now? Let's talk about something. And he's like, so good to come on half the time. But I mean, we haven't even done, Becky said, you haven't had me on for a What's Sold show. And I said, that's because no one's selling anything.
Great.
It's not that, but Diana, who just got back from a lovely vacation. Tina, howdy. Marianne, Linda, it's Happy Tuesday. Well, we hope it'll be a happy Tuesday. And Dax, who is doing some more digging in his favorite place out on the island. Dawn, who also said, Carl, stop playing video games.
Oh, we even talked about that pre-show, yeah.
Tina and Andrew. And Andrew's got a call. I get unmotivated when things aren't selling. I get motivated when things sell. Now, if I flip that around, I'll be going that.
Yeah, if only it was that easy, right?
If it was just like we could just like snap our fingers and do that sort of thing. Anne was saying that she's a small seller and her June sales are super low, but her July sales have hit the jackpot. So that might be something that helps motivate you even more so with something like that. Heather said, Bob has worked from home for quite a while. He's very good at remotivating himself and not getting distracted. She says, I think some people are just good at it.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it could be. Hey, Sherry. And Nellie, motivate me. Hey, Holly. Oh, I didn't mean that kind of fun. I meant you went on vacation, not today at the hospital. I know you did that. I'm not sure why, and it cost you a way big lot of money to park there for the day. So, no, generally, I was talking about your vacation. For us, it's like whether you're going to go on vacation or anything like that, you're still looking at the stuff that you have to sell. So before we get into more about this, I thought we should always do something that is a little bit of the fun that we've got, which is that we are trying to do some work on stuff. And we have done some sales, maybe not big ones, but some interesting ones. So Carl and I both have like 4 things that we're going to show you that we sold in the past couple of weeks or so. I'm not sure how soon it is from when we sold it. So let me pop to this and pop in Carl's first one, which is a plate.
No, it's not. It's a compact. Right. I found this on the baggy wall. I just like when I was saying this, you can see my Star Trek uniform in that picture.
Yeah.
That could be real bad. So I'm glad it was just that. But it was just fun because it was like it was a picture of a boat, and it was just I found that on the baggy wall. I think I got good money for that. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, you did. You got $50
for it. Yeah, it was just a fun thing, like something a little different.
Did you do any research on what the Corinthia was?
I tried, but there was no comps, so I just put a big value on there and hope for the best. And it took a while to sell, but I'm happy with that. It was just something different, you know.
Yeah. A while back, I mentioned to people that sometimes I spend a little extra money on something that is a little higher priced. And I bought these things that I found at one of the Valley Villages near me, and they had 7 of these dog harness things called clickets. And they are these like clicket by Sleepy Pods. And they were $14.99 each, and they had them in a bunch of different places. They were all the same size, but it's like for your dog, Orange Dream extra small. Well, we listed them, and I'm surprised because when I looked at them to buy them, there seemed to be quite a few solds. And I thought, I'll get rid of all 7 of these in a week. Well, 5 months later, I at least took my first offer on one, and we sold it at 7. We listed it at 75. We sold it for 60.
Well, that's good.
So I'm still happy.
Yeah.
It pays for 4 of them. And again, with one of those little things, it's also it's that kind of thing where you go, oh, should I have bought 7? Like I have $80 invested in all of these, or $90 invested in them all. At least now I feel a little better that I invested the $90 because I've actually ended up getting at least a partial return. And it may be a longer tail thing. Pardon the dog pun, but it may be but I don't know if I should try it on some other places. I'm not looking to flip them too fast. I'd rather try and make $40 or $50 on every one of them. Kind of like what you made on this, which surprised me. You got this 30th anniversary Monopoly game. Now, we always say Monopoly is still it's a good thing.
Yeah, I showed this one. If you ever see unique Monopolies, just UPC scan them at least, because I've sold like an Alan Turing one for good money. I've sold just, if it's weird, look it up. And this was the case of that, a Honda one. And it was okay. $90. That's really good, actually. So I'm very happy with that.
And the back of the box has water damage,
which
too.
is so annoying because it was otherwise it would have been practically new. But still, good money. So I was very happy with that.
And was this like a thrift store find?
Yeah, I can't remember what I paid. $5, $6, $10, something like that.
Well, I showed a couple of weeks ago again when we went down to the States. I found at one estate sale this box, and it was filled with a whole bunch of slot car parts, but it also had some slot cars in it. Yeah. So I finally got them up. And again, this is one of the things that is part of the motivation is getting this stuff that might be neat and then doing nothing with it. We talk about that all the time. That was part of when we were saying listing the unlistables. It's like, or getting through stuff that you've had sitting around. You go, oh, I bought this and it's worth so much money. And then you don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Well, this bag of stuff. Now I only had it for 2 weeks, I think 3 weeks from when I got it, but I still hadn't listed it. So I went through, we listed 90% of the cars that were in there. This was one of the cars. I had to do probably about an hour research on each one in order to try and figure out the pricing on them. Rick did a little video. And one neat thing I found was that if you want to test a slot car, you just need a 9-volt battery.
That's very appropriate because I just found one last week.
Yeah, no idea. But yeah, all you end up having to do is put the bottom part of the car, which is these two metal bracket part pieces here, onto a 9-volt battery. And then people can watch and see that the wheels are actually spinning. They can see the wheel spin. And then it's working. And that is something that helped me on this particular one get bids up to $50 on it. I priced it at like $20.
It's crazy. Yeah, they're really good if you find good ones.
Yeah, the silver one that other people had sold for $98 to $125, I had listed it at $80. It actually sold for the $80 to the same person who just bought this one for $51.
Yeah.
But we also had 4 or 5 others, and they all got what I thought was the bid that I needed. But I paid $22 for this entire bin of stuff. And the cars and everything I pulled out have now sold for over $200. So, again, it's one of those things where you look for little pieces and find something in there. And, again, I was quite happy to – Rick and I kept going, the FedEx car's got another bid. The FedEx car –
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been expected this to go there based on what the other sales had been. You found a programmable thermostat.
These things sell for money sometimes. This is another case of I didn't have a ton of sales to show, but this is just another case. If it's sealed, take the time. I didn't think this would have any value, and obviously it had really great value for the slot cars.
Interestingly, I sold a Honeywell thermostat.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, people want the modern ones at least.
And $30. Yours got more.
Yeah, it's great. There's a great flip.
But in both the cases, they're like, and I've seen these before. It's just stuff that is like, for whatever reason, people have bought it, not used it, and they throw it out instead of maybe they tried it at a garage sale or something like that, and they didn't. And so I find these kind of things every once in a while. Yeah, and because they're sealed, they may take a little while for someone to look for it, but hey, it's another sale. And then you got a weird one, which I remember. I think you talked about what can you say to a yak back?
Yeah. So the other thing with the thermostats is that it's a need rather than a want, which is nice. So right now, everyone's been saying that the needs are going to sell a lot better, and that's a good example of that. So this was something I've actually found at an estate sale, which is such a rare thing for me. So I was just so glad. It's like, okay, I finally found something. It's a fun toy, For some reason, all these are newer things. So it's
newer things that you've listed.
Yeah, or new like sealed stuff. That motivates me because it's so quick to list.
Yeah. I'm going to end with one of mine, which was this little knee hugger thing. And I thought, oh, this is great. I found a yellow knee hugger in a $3.99 baggy wall. Fine. Then I found a little red one a little while later for another $3. And I thought, oh, great. Haven't seen a yellow one. Christmas knee huggers are pretty good. Took the pictures. Didn't even look. Neither did Rick. Now, this was missing the bell. on the top of his head. Didn't even think about that. And we did not lift up his hat. And I put it on to auction for $28. I got people offering $17. I said no. It ended. I relisted it at $35 and it sold. Yay! At a higher price.
That's funny.
Boo! The person who got it sent us a picture and there was a giant hole.
Oh, God.
Underneath the thing. So, and this is kind of the thing. This unmotivates you. So,
yeah. I
said to the person who got it, hey, how about I give you $35, $15 back?
Yeah.
And then you can keep them. No, I want to return them both. How about $20 back? No, I want to return them both. So I literally ended up saying, don't bother.
Yeah.
Throw them out.
Yeah.
Here's a full refund, because I had to pay for the shipping down there. I would have had to pay for shipping back.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I've got a return on a thing that has a hole in the half. And I'm like, wait, and I'm going to have to pay a pickup charge because I have them shipped to my US address. And it's like, this is going to end up costing me $25 just to get the things back and in my hand so I can sell them again for $20.
If you're lucky. I did just last night, same thing. I just gave them the refund. I screwed up. It was under $35. I said, here, just keep it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to deal with the label. I don't want to deal with all that stuff you talked about. And yeah, it's disappointing. But in my case, and I guess probably in your case too, we screwed up.
Yeah.
It wasn't a question of like, does it really work or not? No, we made a mistake.
No, and I apologize for that. I missed it. My photographer missed it. And it's like, but still, I thought, well, one of them was good. The other one, at least you'd think that somebody would take like half price off.
I do that too.
And when they were like, no, I just want to return them. It's like, well, they're disappointed. Now I'm just hoping I don't get a negative feedback on it or anything like that. So
yeah, if you refund, can you get negative feedback on refunds?
I don't think they can, but it just means I'd have to follow up with something and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Catherine is saying she lists almost every day. One sale since a week ago. Going to remove a few more duds. Well, that's actually good that you're going to remove a few duds. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Man. And then Sherry was saying that Corinthia sunk. So maybe that's why it's...
Oh, right.
Tried to... Andrew found a possumopoly at Value Village. There are some weird ones. We've actually sold a few. We sell some in our local Max Solds and actually get good money for them in our Max Solds, which is a really good thing for us. We've got a few we got a Max Sold ending this week. I am not exactly sure what's going on with this brown chicken, brown cow. Bound chicken, bound. I don't know what that means. Again, Andrew's like, are there any Vero issues with Honeywell? I'm a little concerned with listing contractor type things. Honeywell, I don't know. I'm going to do the easy thing, which is when you're trying to figure that out, Andrew, quickly pop into Google, and this is the easy way for me: eBay Vero, and you go to the eBay Vero list. It's the verified rights owners. This is going into Google, so easy to get to. You can pop onto there, and then under the verified rights, just pop in. And it's alphabetical, so you can actually click right on here and see, is Honeywell listed. The stupid thing is this is not in alphabetical order. This is what this drove me crazy, because I was actually looking for something for somebody else who had asked that they said they had a problem. And so it's just trying to do that little look here. I don't see Honeywell listed anywhere in here. So I did not have a problem in listing that myself as well. Take a quick look and see how many other Honeywell things might be listed as well. That could be a way for you to sort of avoid being hit with a Vero on that. Oh, that's right. Possumopoly was from the Red Green Show. Nellie's husband worked for Honeywell back in Illinois way back when. Yeah, you make a mistake, take care of the customer and move on. Yeah, I was hoping to, Chris, but I kind of hoped I'd at least get the money back for it. I thought it would be a good guy and they'd say, oh my, yes, I'd love to keep it. I can still display it, even though I'm not going to be lifting up the hat every day. Like, that's the kind. And a lot of times that actually works with us too, is when we try to do partial refunds on things. We've actually gotten really well with it, where it's covered our costs, covered our shipping, covered our fees, and then we've been able to, like, say, make somebody happy and get good feedback and things like that. But yeah, so we had our error and we went there. So, but now we go to the place where we always go and we get stuck. And today, I was saying to Carl, so I want to hear what he has to do with this. And if anybody actually wants to pop in and join, well, look, there's good dog out in the basement.
I'm lurking.
He's lurking. Let me just pop this on. Let's see, where is it? It's here. If anybody wants to join us because they have thoughts about how to motivate, feel free. I'm going to post that in the comments right now so you can join. If you got a camera, you can pop in and chat with us as well. So I was making a comment to Carl earlier. The difference is Rick and I, we do this part-time. It's our sort of fun money. I mean, it is a bill paying thing now that we're both retired, so it helps pay the bills a lot more, but we don't rely on it solely as a bill paying thing. But one of the things that Rick and I had a bit of a challenge on is over the year and a half or so when he retired and he was supposed to be working. He knows I'm going to call him out on this, working on this so much full time with me. Then he would not catch up on stuff that I was doing. So I'd do a bunch of work and then I'd be saying, I've got 30, 40, 50, 60, sometimes 100 plus things in drafts. And I had no pictures done on them, or I had no inventory properly put for something he'd done pictures for. And so I literally made him agree about a year ago or so. I said, you know what? This is the only way this is going to work. You work, I work. If you don't work, I don't work. And
that work?
Well, no.
I still get my naps. I'll just say that, Carl.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. This Friday, we went and both got our 4th booster. And when we got our 4th booster shot, we were very happy to get our booster shot.
Yeah.
It hit me like someone had just given me a punch, like a child punched me in the shoulder. That was it. It's like, ow.
Backed up over me and drove over me a couple of times.
Rick was like he had been attacked. Like,
yeah, I've heard that from other people too.
And he was out. Like, he was out Saturday. He was out Sunday. He was out most of Monday. And so, like, Saturday, I was like, okay. Oh, well, he's asleep. Well, I haven't seen the episodes of What We Do in the Shadows that I have taped. Oh, I think I better watch another Murder, She Wrote. Oh, look what else I've seen on here. I'm still catching up on all of Bob's Burgers from 2013. Like, I literally did nothing at all. So it's like, for us, the motivation is trying to go, now, if I'm going to work, you're going to work. Now, we've bopped our way out of that. And just to give you an idea, in the past day and a half, what we did was we worked on, in the past day and a half, I've actually done 53 drafts up to try and clear our dining room table. Rick made the post on Monday saying, time to clean the dining room table off. And that's one of the things in terms of getting motivated too, is it's just a mess. And so, and every one of these things you can see, Rick is going through them. We're getting pictures done. Now, there's a good and a bad to this. There's a bunch here that still need pictures done on them, but good and the bad on this is like these glass figurines were from Brimfield. All these cross-stitch kits were something I just went and picked up literally last Thursday. I went to out and said, oh, I'm going to go take a look at a thrift store. So we have that where we're trying to go, I got to do something, you got to do something. And every once in a while, you both get in a funk. How do you deal with it, Carl, just on your own? Like, do you get in like funks? Like,
100%. This last week was definitely one of those. I had something big happen, and it was basically on my mind the entire time until today. So, and that's human. And we're going to have times where we're more motivated than not. Also, I think it's really important to understand how you work as a person. So one thing I've been trying, and it was working until this last week, was instead of trying to say, I'm going to do this amount each day, or I want to get my listens and stuff like that, for some people, the structure of your day is actually more important than any of that stuff. And for me, that was really working. So for me, for one thing, is I usually thrift almost every day. The first thing I do when I come home is I list for just 1 hour, and I put a timer on. I don't go past the hour. I don't keep going and burn myself out, and I don't do anything else. I don't clean. I don't do whatever. And I found it was working, and that's part of being motivated too, is trying different things, and that was working. But after that hour, I would go do something else. And another thing that I find helps if you're not motivated, it's really good to kind of prep things around the place so that if you get that motivation, you're easily able to get back into it without other stuff getting in your way, i.e. cleaning stuff, or maybe cleaning your area or whatever. That can help with motivation, because even when you get in the mood and you're tripping over stuff in your basement or around you, and you can't find your tools because it's all messed around you, or something's not working, or you can't find the battery so you can test something, that's really can suck the energy for those few times you do have motivation. So all those things I find help me. But honestly, another good thing is just trying different things. Like for some people, watching other people do a live show and listing or whatever, just having that feel like you're working with someone else can make a big difference to your motivation. For some people, it doesn't work. For some people, they'll just sit there and watch. But you should try.
Well, yeah, and when I was trying to do that a bit with the Kennel Club, I do remember there were people who were saying, like, when I was trying to do the list a day or something like that, there were people who really liked some of those challenges because they felt that they needed that extra little bit of motivation to try and say, oh, well, if Craig's gonna, and then they would see, oh, somebody did 2 items, somebody else did 2 items. It's like, well, if they can do 2 items, I can do 2 items. And that's why I was always saying, it doesn't mean you have to do 20. Yeah. It just means if you can do 1 in this week, that's great. If you and that make you do 2. Yeah. Like, even when you were doing your shows, Carl, it was one of the things that I was watching them, and part of your shows, what was motivating me was like, Carl's doing 3 shows a week. And he's listing like 20, 30, 40 things, and he's listing $1,000 worth of stuff. And I'm going, oh, crap, I've done nothing. So it was
did it help? That's the thing, because you could try all those things you talked about, and maybe for your personality, it doesn't help. And that's okay, because we're all different, right? Like, I'm not motivated by those contests, it doesn't motivate me. But for some other people, it's great. Or for some people, they'll watch a listing show and they'll just sit there and kind of watch it and not do any work. It doesn't work. So that's part of trying what works for you. For some people, it's making sure they eat a proper meal.
Yeah.
Right.
I love Nelly. I need to be challenged and shamed.
Yeah. Shame doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And Cecila's like, I wish I had an interested partner. He doesn't have the passion. That's okay, but I get distracted. And yeah, getting distracted is a big thing.
Like Anna Wadford from Game of Thrones. Shame.
Diana's like, sometimes I find good motivation is go through your death pile and find a really good items and list them and list a couple of okay ones with it. And yeah, that's one of the things that it's like, I'd love to hear in the comments, if you don't want to come on camera, just put a comment down as like, what do you do to remotivate yourself if you find that you've gotten into a bit of a funk? And you don't have to explain how you got into the funk. You can if you want. But it's what are the things that you can do to sort of remotivate yourself. And that one that Diana just put down is exactly one that we talked about a few weeks ago, which was like, I've got stuff that I find that I think is worth money. And I'm so happy I found it, and then I don't do anything with it. But if all of a sudden I do something with it, it can actually get us a little more motivated. And Carl and I were talking earlier today, and he just happened to mention that he didn't have a great week last week. And he was saying, well, my sales were way down. And my sales had actually jumped up a little bit in the past couple of weeks. And part of the reason that my sales jumped up a little bit is because I started going, well, wait a second. I need to get those bigger items out there. I need to get stuff listed that will motivate me. And what motivates me? Well, what motivates me is when I go in on a Tuesday and I get an email from eBay and it says you have a sale, right? And or your deposit is coming in, and a couple of the ones I'm just going to show you right now from the past little while, but a couple of the ones that did motivate us were this is in the past 3 months. This is the stuff that's motivated us. But pop onto here. That Nintendo Power that I put up that ended up getting $470. That was a huge motivation. I never thought it would get that high. That Furby for $200. But even when I go to some of the things that have been more recently, I sold a set of paperback books for $150. There's that race car set, the two of them, for $126.
Great.
I put on this crew jacket and I got $100. I got that Halo thing for $100. The Bratz doll just sold last week for $81. So I'm looking at these kind of things and I go, that's the Lidsville lunchbox have been sitting in a box beside my dining room table for nearly a year and a half. And it was in there for me I brought it back from display at my old office, but I was like, I'm not going to keep it. And it had the thermos in it. And I thought, I'm going to split them up. I'm going to put the thermos for $75 and the lunchbox for $75. And the lunchbox sold in a couple of weeks. And that's kind of the thing that helps me a little bit more is when I get some of these $40 or $50 or $60 things that are in there. Sometimes they've taken a while. These Andy Warhol boots I put on mugs back in December. Well, they just sold for $50. But those are the things that make me think, oh, okay, I need to find something else. So even with the drafts that we're working on right now, I'm trying to work on drafts and put some stuff up that is, here's a $50 item, here's a $70 item, because when I get that cha-ching and I look at my phone, I go, oh, I just sold a $9 item. It's like
not exactly motivating.
It doesn't, yeah. So those, for me, as Diana was saying, trying to list a few of those things that may have a little more oomph to them, may sell faster, whether you decide to auction them or decide to put them at like a $20 under what you really think you want to get.
Yeah.
But it's still $50 more than you paid for it. Like, I'm actually using that as some of my own motivation right now, going, I could have tried to sell that silver car for $125 or $95 to $125. And I just went, I want it gone. I want to have made money on this. And if I can get $80 for a car I paid $1 for, why not get that $80 now? And I think that's part of the thing that's helping motivate me and Rick a little bit in our team is when we see that we are packing things. Now, the challenge with all the new drafts we're doing, they're tiny. Everything we're doing is tiny. So, but my dining room table is filled with tiny shit. Now, it's tiny shit that's got money behind it, though. It's like baggy wall stuff that I bought. And I was doing checks on some of the things, and I found like I bought this little bag of Winnie the Pooh figures that were in little
danglers.
They're called Peek-a-Poos.
Right.
Well, I bought the baggie for like $3.99. I found a Peek-a-Poo in there that sells for $45. Just one.
Yeah.
So I have all these little lots of 2 or 3. But again, I could sell them for $60 or $70. But I'm like, you know what? This is $1. If I can make $20 and I can list this and it can go, those are things that I think could help us a little bit more.
Yeah, it's like for me, the money thing helps. But sometimes it's not as much as you might think. Sometimes it's almost more interest that when you have a personal interest in the item itself. I wasn't, for that thing for the thermostat. It's like that doesn't thrill me. It's nice to sell, but it's not super motivating. But just some other things that helped me a little outside the box a bit is sometimes it's good or I find for myself, it's good to change up my workspace. Change the direction I am, change my view, make less of a view, alter where the items are around me. Because sometimes some of us thrive on newness and coming down and you're seeing the same spot, staring at the same wall, staring at the same things can be strangely demotivating. Right?
Yeah, and actually that's very true because that's the reason I'm working on the dining room table right now is I'm working on it to clear it.
Yeah.
So that if I have things, I will not just bring them and dump them. I'm going to try and not turn it into a dumping ground because now the way our house is set is we're a side split house. So when you walk out of our bedroom, it's a railing that looks down on the dining room. And the dining room table looks like a hoarder pile of crap that is
very
not
demotivating.
moving.
Yeah, 100%.
And so you look at
a
that.
lot of the stuff that's there, to be fair, is stuff that we bring in from our various sourcing trips, and we park it. With the intent that, hey, we'll go through it quickly.
Yeah. So one of the things I actually avoid in my basement is piling areas, if you can, because I will pile, right? So at least with the shelves, I can only pile on the shelf, right?
Right.
And because I used to do that. I used to have like a long table, and all it turned into was a huge pile. And you didn't even know what was at the bottom of it. And so
I think a lot of us have that long table or space in the garage.
I got rid of the long table.
Or in a bed. Like I know somebody who will remain nameless who literally has a bed that stuff goes on, and then it becomes like the bags on the bags on the bags on the bed, and it's like all of a sudden it is honestly like a hoarder episode because you're looking at stuff going, oh my god, this is like 4 feet tall, and you lift a bag up and there's another bag under it, and it was something that you paid $40 for to try and relist for $100, and it's like it just becomes a mess.
It's a very easy trap.
Yeah, so like
most of us fall into that.
I think that's the reason. So even though it's small stuff, and I think this is one of the other reasons, and this is kind of it demotivates a little bit, but I'm doing little things and I'm trying to go. Rick has been trying to throw the rule to me: touch it once.
Yes, that's so important.
It's not easy.
Not easy. Sorry, Rick.
I break that rule all the time.
Yeah, but it's a
I'm
great
just
rule.
going to move that over here until I can get to it. Well, that's part of the problem.
Inefficiency. Yeah.
But, 100%. For example, Craig actually handed me all of the Reseller cross-stitch kits.
Yeah.
They had the stickers from Value Village on them. So I took them downstairs, I took the stickers off, and then I took pictures of them. And while I was taking pictures of them, I did all of the drafts.
He never does that.
I never do drafts, really.
So I love that. Like, actually, cross stitches are a great example. Because sometimes to get myself to list, I'll start with something easy. I don't have to test it. I don't have to clean it. I don't have to do any of that stuff. And with cross stitch, usually we buy them sealed.
Yep.
They're easy to look up. They're easy to take pictures. Boop, boop, right? Easy to identify. So I'll start with an easy thing just to get me going. But that only works for that one session. But you have to kind of like, that's the interesting thing about the structure I was talking about before. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I'll list at this point, I'll list at that point. But if I do it the first thing when I get home, even if it's just 20 minutes, sometimes it's just getting that started is the biggest thing. Or another big motivator I find, and I probably should do it more, is I look at my positive feedback. Because people say the most wonderful things about us, and we tend to forget about that. And when you realize how happy we are making people by finding things they really, truly enjoy, that can be a bit motivating as well. It's just like, one of the tools to use.
Allison has joined us. I haven't seen Allison before. It's easy doing the listings till it comes to shipping, and then anxiety hits the roof. It's like, but at least you're doing the two things that are good: listing and maybe selling, versus just being. The
nice thing about shipping is we have an external deadline.
Yeah. Heather's like, clean the dining room table because ladies are coming for a birthday party. Yes, you could arrange for people to come by your house, which is why we don't have anybody come by our house.
And
that's a solution.
Adrian comes by and he shops. So
basically, Adrian comes by and then shops. But I mean, Carl, with you, you've got everything in the basement, so you've got like a separate level when you move up for that.
Yeah, I keep sanctity in there.
Yep.
Craigie.
Yes.
This was Allison's first message.
Oh. Hey, Allison. Yay. Thanks for joining. Yes. And I see that I think you've already set up with Stallion, and they're really good. Stallion Express. Join our kennel club. Just send us an email to Facebook. Rick will put a link there. It's just a regular Facebook group. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, just like this. And if you have questions, there's a bunch of us. There's 100 or so of us in there that'll try and help you with any questions that you may have. I was messaging back and forth with somebody from Sri Lanka actually today who sold a watch, and they were trying to figure out how the auction worked, and because they'd sold a watch on auction, and so I was messaging them. So we'll try and help you the best we can. Sherry's got her car is her catch-all. I've seen a few of those.
Yeah.
At the at the store, I've seen a few of those.
It's dumping in the back.
Yeah, Susan says the Ohio principle: only handle it once. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Ohio. So we'll have to think of a. No, we have to think of a dog version of the Ohio principle, I guess. Positive feedback. Ollie's saying positive feedback does help. Yeah, that's very true.
Even though feedback doesn't matter.
Yes. Tina says, my husband was asking why I was digging out a box. I said, I could get accurate shipping on a large toy. Yeah, it's true. Rag says, you guys are sure calling me out here.
Oh, we're all the same. We all have these.
Doing or not doing everything you're talking about. My motivation is that cha-ching, but it hasn't been happening much lately. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to do this show. And when I chatted with Carl earlier today, he was like, yes, this is like, we were both in that position to go, oh, I don't know. I'm not motivated. How do I get motivated? So maybe, again, some of those things you can think of there are if you've got a couple of higher end items that you think will go faster. And like, so another perfect example today, I just found a bag, and I don't know when I got this. It was on the dining table, and it had like 5 Polly Pocket toys in it. Well, Polly Pocket toys sell, and they can sell pretty fast if you price them right. So I literally wrote them up, and I'm going to get rid of them. And I priced them about 20% under what everybody else is pricing theirs at, because I think I paid $1 for this bag. So I'm pricing stuff that's going to make me hopefully $60 or $70 at the end of the day, but I'm also pricing it so that somebody's going to buy it. And I get rid of another little thing, but it's $20. And even though we always say, and Carl is the one that helped us get to a little more of this methodology, it's like we want to raise our average selling price as much as we can when we've got a bunch of stuff around, like an entire thing filled with what are normally $3 to $5 eyelashes. I can't, I'm not going to throw them out. We paid $1 for 200 of these eyelashes. Well, I threw mismatched sets in. I've got 4 lots of them right now that I'm going to put up for $10 a piece. Yeah, it's $10. But if I sell them, it's going to be $40, and it goes to pay off the $1 I paid for all of them. And so it's a little thing. It's not big. It's easy to ship. And it might be a little more, another cha-ching and another cha-ching. I can tell you, when we were getting paid over $1,000 a week, and 50% of the stuff that we were getting was $10 and $15 items, it was nice hearing a cha-ching happen a lot. That was motivating to me too, is just hearing a lot of cha-ching. So some people use this strategy of you want to price it high, and you could go fast. Like you said, you just picked out a price for that compact and it went.
Yeah.
But you can also use that strategy and go, what did I pay? And what's everybody else asking? And I'll give you another perfect example of that. So one of the things that has demotivated us a lot our local thrift stores have been sucking. No donations.
Yeah.
Nothing that we could see worth getting. We've seen people with full carts, and we just don't understand. This is the royal we, because I'm the only one doing it. We just don't understand what the hell they put in their cart. Why is that shit in there? There's so much stuff that I'm like, oh. Right? There's Allison's got the cut. I'd rather get $1 from $1 million than $1 million from one. Yes, in essence, that's kind of the way we're saying it. So much so that I literally have only been thrifting normally once a week now, and I only go to 2 stores now. I used to go to 7 to 9 stores on average. I would do it 3 times a week. And I just found that unmotivating. I couldn't find anything. So now I'm going, maybe I go once a week. Well, last week I thought on the Thursday I'm going to go twice. Well, I walked in and the first thing I found was literally 12 to 15 Christmas cross-stitch kits, all sealed, all $2.99.
You love when that happens. It's just
and
it's random, It's like this is what I got today. Is Amiibos.
Oh yeah.
And this little guy here, he sells for like 40 to 50 American. Just this one. And I've been through a big drought, But one thing actually that I should take more advantage of is not getting into a rut of where you're sourcing. Try auctions. Try live auctions.
Yeah.
Try sourcing off a Facebook Marketplace. Try
sourcing from My Max Sold that ends this Thursday at 8:40.
If you're like with you guys when you're doing traveling, maybe do some sourcing and travel. So like, my wife is off this next 2 weeks. So what I might say, hey, let's go to this town. I can hit the thrift store, and we can explore the town. Kind of like, make it, and that adds a bit more interest as well.
Yeah. I mean, when I was out and I got those things, again, it's like haven't had anything in a while. There were 2 of these on the toy shelf.
Yeah.
$7.99.
Yeah.
Unused. Brand new. They list for between sell for between $150 to $225 sealed. This guy's still sealed. The other guy was open, but he was still attached to his. So I could list him at $100 or so or more, but you know what? I'm popping him in at $85. I want it gone. And so that's one of the things I'm saying is like, I'm going to try and make some money on it because he's new, but he's been opened, and I don't want to wait a long time on it. So let me see if I can flip something fast. And again, I'll hopefully get a cha-ching, and I'll be able to go, oh, great, I got a cha-ching. I'm making a little bit of money. So
yeah, we did have a little debate about whether or not to try to put new batteries in the one that we could pull out of the box.
But we would have had to detach it. And I said, no, I don't want to detach it. I want to sell it to that people know that's never been played with before. So
I probably would not take it out of the box if it's being properly attached.
Yeah. Anne says, I primarily source from one place now, a place that cleans out estates and sells furniture and better stuff. Be on the lookout in case there's a place like that near you. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Allison mentioned that she has been selling from flea markets and having an antique store and Facebook Marketplace for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's really good too. What is it? Let's see. Oh, you wanted to see it again? It's a Pokemon electronic. Gotta catch them all. Talking.
Oh, sorry. Where are you, Craig?
Hey, everyone. There you go.
I go like that. It's a Pikachu Pokemon plush. Squeeze his hand and they speak. Electronic Pikachu. So, and it's from Hasbro from 1998. And again, this has always been the weird thing. I always wonder but it happens all the time. Why is a 25-year-old toy still in its package in somebody's house? Well, it's the same reason why is a 50-year-old toy. It's like grandma bought it and never gave it to anybody and then decided to get rid of it.
Tommy was a bad boy. He didn't deserve it.
I think the other thing to do with like just back to the motivation part is that realize that the same thing that used to motivate you might not work.
Yes.
So you go, why doesn't this work anymore? And that can be very frustrating, especially for me when it's like, oh, I found a solution. I need to do this and this and this, and that works. So, at least for me, especially with my ADHD, newness is really important. Changing things up is really important. And knowing a bit how your brain works can actually help you a bit. And be willing to try things, and if they don't work. And you know what? Also be willing to accept that you don't have to work 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Don't have that guilt in your head all the time, because I get that a lot. It's like, well, I'm just sitting around. I could be working. I could be listening. It's like, no, you got to not burn yourself. And we're allowed to have vacations too.
Yeah. If you're part-time, then you've got your may have full-time work or something like that. If you take care of a family during the day, there's all these other things that can take your life, and you go, I need to have this amount of time to, well, if you as Carl's saying, if you can't get an hour every night, then don't worry about the hour every night. But I think switching it up is a good idea. And again, that's kind of what, for us, going to the States for our shopping has been a real big, it's been a thrill. Like, it's been fun to shop. It actually, when we shop, to be able to come back and do the show on the Tuesday night was fun. So that,
you have all this exciting stuff to share.
Yeah, all that stuff excited me, and excited me to want to talk to you guys about it and show you stuff and things like that. And that, I mean, my challenge has been a dual challenge, not only on the side of everything that we're doing on eBay for our listings and sales, but it's also, how do I keep the Kennel Club interesting? How do we keep the YouTube channel interesting? How do you guys, how do I get more people tuning into us? How do I motivate you guys into talking to other people and saying, hey, you guys should watch Two Dogs Digs, like things like that. And so there's multiple things going on in my head, and I get challenged at times to go, I can't even think of something new to talk about. So it's that the whole motivation idea. One of the things with the Facebook group that I found this was pretty good. And there are a number of you who may be in here who will watch afterwards. If you're in the Facebook group, the Two Dogs Digs Kennel Club Facebook group, feel free to challenge other people, because that is one thing that, as I say, I did find other people really liked it when I said, okay, I want you to find a blank to try and list. Let's see you find a $50 item in your profit pile that's sitting around and list it and show us what you listed. And I found that there was a lot of people who actually were doing that, or they found that motivation. And that's kind of the thing that Carl and I have a little bit. I have it with Rick, but I have it with Carl. I have it with a couple other people too, is finding that kind of like a reselling buddy. Because a lot of us this is us. We're in our own little room. Yeah. We go and shop and we come back and then we have to list. And then that's this. We don't have any, it's not like it's a company where all 20 of us come into the same room at the same time and we're all listing, and we're all photographing, and we're chatting. Yeah. So hopefully, to get yourself unisolated, that might be the sort of thing where maybe you need to find a partner too, like that you can ask questions about, or you can even just, like Heather, for example, sends me messages all the time. Hey, look what I found. Is this something I should get? What do you think? Is this good? Is it bad? What do you think about pricing? So it keeps you involved in what you're doing. Pardon me. On a daily basis, and again, keeps you a bit more motivated, because I'm interested in what Heather's found. So that might be something else, is see if you can find sort of your own sort of like listing buddy. If you can or can't, think about it in the actual Kennel Club. Think about posting something in there. If you have something, you go, hey, I need some motivation. Somebody challenge me to do something. So it doesn't also lean only on me to be the person with all the posts that are in there.
You could also try things that you think might not work. Because sometimes I thought, oh, I won't like this, or I won't want to do this, and I've tried it and it's like I've loved it. So don't prejudge yourself when it comes to what you might actually enjoy.
Don says, I have several people I regularly harass about reselling stuff. It is helpful.
Yeah, I've done that. It's like I looked at this store. It's like, you said you were going to list something this week. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah. Well, no, and I
do that vase yet.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Right? But
he's still got all his Pinocchios, but they're still there. Heather says we enjoy our shopping. They enjoy our shopping too. I find just watching this show motivates me. Well, that's very nice to know. It motivates me to know that I'm motivating you. It's like that's one of the reasons that I do this. Is I'm not doing it for money anymore. I'm doing it because I enjoy talking to people. There's communication here as well. Like I do like having Carl on, and I like having Becky on to say, hey, here's some stuff that's going on with us, and Sherry. And I know, like, Sherry right now is trying to wrestle. Now she's got a full-time job and she's trying to do her reselling and everything, so she doesn't get to show up as much. Oh yeah, you all the time, right? But I'm stuck with you all the time anyway. So but yeah, I think that's one big thing, is helping other people. Don't feel feel like you should be able to reach out, I would guess, to anybody you see whose name is down here on the side. If you are a friend of theirs or you send them a friend message, I'm sure they're the type of person who might be able to go, oh, okay, help me with this, or I just need some motivation. Maybe it's just once a week. Maybe it's just one post. Maybe it's just one thing. Maybe it's identifying something you've struggled with, and you're like, I just can't figure out how to do this. The Greg, actually, who's watching with Kathy from a TV, so he sent me a message. He goes, think about prepping for longer now. Like, think about longer term prepping too. It's like, start thinking now about Christmas is coming, and start going, you know what? If you need to shake up where you're going with something, get into your Christmas stuff. Because I mean, if it's always the same type of thing that you're handling, and then all of a sudden you're handling something brand new, and that's actually something we're going to be doing. That's one of the reasons we're clearing off the dining room table, is we have to prep properly for Halloween and Christmas, because we do have a lot of Halloween and Christmas stuff that we put up, and we do have really good sales on those kind of times. Susan said, thank you for helping keep me motivated. Yeah, so we all do like talking to each other. Allison saying she's only had herself, so someone else having thoughts, opinions. Yeah, that's what we're here for, Allison. And again, Kennel Club, free on Facebook. I mean, I literally, yesterday I was on with Lee, and he was sending me pictures of a shirt. He said, I don't know what I should sell this for. And I did some research. I said, oh, how about this? And he said, oh, I think it should go for more. And I'm like, well, then why are you asking me? I said, list it for $29. And he listed it for $50, and he sold it in like less than 3 hours. So I said, what? But it was a conversation, and he's working by himself in Jersey. So it's like, those are the kind of things.
It's a little bit isolating for people at times if all you're doing is on your own.
And if your partner doesn't do it,
times it's nice to have people who do the same thing that you're doing to talk about it with.
Yeah, and their eyes don't glaze over, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and like your partner. I mean, Carl's dealing with that, and he's got a perfect. I actually said to him, hey, why don't you go down? Because I know when we were talking about his vacation time, I said, just not too far from him is Madison Bookville, which is a huge antique week that actually happens to be when he and his partner are off. And I said, why don't you drive down there? Because that's the kind of thing that you could have fun with for a day or so. But it's also near Canandaigua and the river areas and antique stores and all sorts of neat areas. So it's like you can do something with, I mean, I did enough of that over 35 years that now this one's stuck doing it. But it was trying to get it out there. Heather and Bob work together really well. Heather does all the estate sales. Bob does a lot of listing. But when they went to Brimfield, they both were they're searching for stuff. So if you got a partner, if you got a friend who can do it, that can help you a little bit. But
also remember, we're not machines.
Yeah.
Right. Like you see a lot of motivational books and you see the same thing. It's like, do 100 of this, and of those 100 things, then 20 will happen. And then if all those 20 calls, you get 5 replies and blah, blah, blah. You know, the math works out.
Yeah, my only advice would be don't let perfect stand in the way of being good.
Exactly, yes.
You know, when I'm taking photos, for example, I can be really picky about them.
Yes, yeah. And
but to be fair, all of the items that are in draft, I've taken all of the pictures since last night.
Yeah.
They're like 45 items that have pictures already, and the rest I will do later.
But that was actually one of your bigger challenges too, is you were trying to be perfect on every single shot and every angle and things like that. And then it would take you too long, and then you'd get demotivated about what you're doing. Or I would demotivate you.
Too long. It's just
it would be that
you wanted me to work at.
or no, true. I will say, or I would demotivate you by saying this picture isn't got the right angle to it, or something like that, and then you take that and go, F it, I don't want to do any pictures. Like, I was like, oh, great,
Rick, ignore him. Just
no.
Yeah, right.
We're actually at a good place where I can say, here is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I can retake any pictures that you might need or think that I have missed.
Yep.
And making mistakes is perfectly fine.
It just changes the conversation to something that's not, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Diana has Bowen.
Why don't we try it this way?
Yeah. Bowen helps with shopping and sourcing. Janet's husband is going, and they're going to the Highway 127 sale, which we were going to go to, but then we decided we weren't going to go to. So we're still trying to decide whether we're going to do Madison Bookville or not. I know Becky Dick is going to be going there as well. Dawn says she's become much more relaxed about photos. As long as everything is shown, then I'm good. Yeah, if you just lift up the hats, though, whenever you're taking pictures of elves, lift up the hat. Just in case the person who wrote it up didn't lift up the hat, then at least you can go, Craig, there's a hole in the head of this thing. Rick is very good at finding those kind of things too and adapting them. I would or taking the photo and then pointing it out to me as like, oh, you missed this. So
I think it's much more important just to get the stuff out than worrying about being perfect. Because I could do the same thing, that I will overthink something for way too long. And sometimes it's best just to get it out there and just do it. Because it can be very demotivating. Because I find when I'm being a perfectionist, it's because I'm scared of making a mistake.
Now, are you changing things up at all, Carl? Because how many more months do you have before you go back full time?
6. Really 5 now.
So you sort of changed how you did everything to get to where you are now, and then you're going to have to sort of switch back a little bit again, or once you get past Christmas into a new year of how does that work for you? So you're going to end up doing some switching up for your own motivation, because then it'll be you only have nights to do stuff.
Well, right now I'm just living in denial. That works pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, I think about efficiency, but I'm kind of surprised that even though I have more time, I'm not necessarily doing a ton more work, which is kind of funny. But that's a different conversation. Which
no, but I just thought it's a different. Your motivation was different last summer when you were working at it part time than your motivation is working at it full time. And again, that's a different challenge. I guess if you can try and set goals for yourself or set goals, try not to set unrealistic goals either. I mean, Carl sort of touched on this, but one of the things I see all the time is these people who are in bigger Facebook groups like the Boss Group, which is a really great group, and TCR, the Complete Reseller, which are the two groups that I'm in right now. And there's people who go, I want to become a full-time reseller. And you have people going, go for it. And I'm like, okay, so first off, it isn't all fun and happy and running around and giggling. And it's not, there's a lot of work into doing this reselling stuff. Even on a part-time basis, there's a lot of work. I am constantly seeing posts that say, I get messages. Personally, I get messages probably once every 2 weeks from someone saying, tell me what I need to buy in order to make $1,000 a month. And I was like, I can't.
No.
I can't do that. I don't know how you. It depends where you are, where you're sourcing, how you price, if you don't know how to list, if you write stuff. I haven't had a sale in months. Okay, if you haven't had a sale in months, let's look at some of the things that you could think about changing. There's there's no time off, like paid time off. You have to work for your own time off. If you've got goals, a mortgage is a good thing. It's a motivation, but it also can be a little bit of a challenge if you are solely doing it. So when somebody wants to go full time, I just always want to say, just make sure you think about things and maybe ramp up to it, plan for it, because you could have started full time and then hit a couple of months like we've sat right now, which have not been happy for a lot of people. They've been really depressed for a lot of people in terms of depressing with what their stuff is coming in.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I actually consider as we're moving forward is, what's the future of reselling going to be? The more that pricing goes up for shipping and the more that things become like harder to source, the more I start thinking that we're going to be on this balance. So it used to be back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, everything was personal selling. And then in came eBay and then Etsy. And then it became a shift that pretty dramatically went like that.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see more local festivals, more local antique shows, toy shows, things like that happening. And why? Because people can't afford to ship within Canada when you've got gas prices that are so high that they have surcharges of $6 and $7. You can't sell a $14 item. I see people posting things in Facebook groups for Canada. They're like, I have this Polly Pocket toy that I'd like to sell for $3. And I'm like, it's going to cost you like $7 to send or $17 to send it.
Yeah.
So I have the feeling that the world is going to be changing a lot or balancing out a lot more over the next few years, which is, again, another reason that I want to try and figure out how to keep motivated in doing things various ways.
The world's always changing. We have to adapt, but
when Bob said he was quitting his job to do eBay full time, you were a nervous wreck. Well, Heather, you could be, but Bob's had 17 careers and he's been pretty damn successful at every one that he does do. But yeah, that's hopefully. We didn't want this to be a depressing show. Hopefully it wasn't, but we wanted you to think about how to motivate yourself a little bit more. I know that I needed this to motivate me to even do a show tonight. I know that Carl gives me motivation. I know Rick sometimes does. But I especially know that you guys watching give me motivation as to why I keep coming back to do this and why I keep the Kennel Club going. So think about the things that we talked about. Try and think about pushing yourself through a couple of things. Maybe post in the Kennel Club about, or even in the comments here, if you're afterwards, if you're watching this afterwards, going, here's a challenge. I wish I had somebody who could help me do this or help me do that. And it might just be one item. You may just need to get one item up there, and that's a bigger priced item that may have a better sale. Maybe you need to do some purging to try and refresh yourself. Maybe you need to clean off that dining room table or get that pile on the bed gone.
Or go to a new section of a store. That can help.
Or shop a new section of the store, or try a little trip to some place that you didn't do, or garage sale in another town.
Yeah.
Like any of those things that can help you a little bit. If you can do things to get more cha-chings, that's always going to be the helpful thing. I mean, you don't cha-ching so much on Poshmark or any of the other platforms. But Cecile says that's the reason she has not been thrifting much since 2020. Lucky she's retired with pensions and took a step back from the hunt for fun, but I understand people have to hunt to pay the bills. Yes. So Allison said, I inspired her, or we inspired her. I was shy coming on to listen, but look at you now.
Awesome.
Yeah, we don't
questions and all over the place. I'm so happy that you did join us here. And Tina just took an offer. Most of her sales are coming in from offers. She mentioned that earlier on, and she's okay with that. Yeah, those are the kind of things that you want to try and pop in and do up. Clean up a spot, take a pile, work on it, and purge what's not worth it. Yeah, those are, we talked about all those sort of different things in different days and different times, and but yeah, I do need motivation every once in a while, and I want people to realize that I'm like you. I need motivation. I don't list, I don't sell. I get why am I doing eBay still? Why am I doing Poshmark still? It's like I should just shut all this down. I should just shut down my YouTube channel. I should shut down. Nobody likes me. Like, that's the kind of thing that goes through your head. And it's like trying to do those things where I list a few things. And the one thing I will say I like right now is I'm selling a few things that have been listed for a while. And it's like, oh, I could have purged that.
Quite often, a sale on eBay of a newer item that you just listed will trigger a sale of something that's been there forever.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things is if you got a bunch of stuff that isn't selling, think about listing new stuff. I know it sounds terrible. It sounds almost counterproductive, but it may very well trigger another sale. So hopefully we motivated you a little bit. Carl, I know you motivate us all the time. Did we motivate you at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know.
Vase, Carl.
Sorry?
List that vase.
List that vase.
I got 5 things in my back.
I will list our McCoy pumpkin.
I asked her today, I said, how come we haven't sold any cookie jars? He goes, because I haven't listed any. I'm like,
if I see the pumpkin up on your store, I'll list my little vase.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll post that into the Kennel Club too. And again, remember, join the Kennel Club. Talk about motivation. Anybody needs support. We're all in here doing the same kind of thing. So hopefully we'll be able to support you and motivate you the way you support and motivate us. Thanks so much to everybody for joining us here. I do know, right for a fact, for those who are still around with us, there will be a few Tuesdays that we will be off in August. That's because we've got a couple of things coming up that happen to be on Tuesday nights. We will try and do some other shows when we can, but again, I'm not going to promise because I've been promising to put some shorts up and I haven't got to any of them because I haven't been motivated to do it. So I will try and do those too. So thanks again. See you soon, and maybe we'll do next week. We'll try and get in for 1st of August or 2nd of August. We'll try and do a what's sold show that we haven't done in a while. We'll get Becky in here and maybe see if we can get Michael and Carl back as well. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bad dog, good dog, Carl, lazy dog, out of here.